welcome to Legally Speaking with me, Tarun Nangia. This is our flagship series, which we do for the incoming Chief Justice of India. This time it is on Justice Bhushan Gavai as Chief Justice of India, opportunities and suggestions to give. I have a very eminent panel who joins me today on this series. I want to welcome Senior Advocate Atmaram Nadkarni. Good to see you, and looking forward to your frank views on every subject, and including now on this subject. We have with us Senior Advocate Darius Khambata, who we have requested and weaned him off of his holiday, being from Bombay, when he has consented. We thank you for your time and appreciate you that you could join us. We have with us Mr. Mahesh Agarwal, who's managing partner of Agarwal Law Associates, one of the leading litigating law firms at the Supreme Court of India. Good to see you, Mr. Agarwal, and always very suggestive and full of ideas. I'm sure that you will bring some ideas, some of which were implemented by the previous CJIs. I think even this time too, we should look forward to some ideas that you suggest being implemented. Let me request at the outset Mr. Darius Khambata, Senior Advocate, to give his opening comment, and then we'll go on to others. Over to you, Mr. Khambata.
Tarun, I readily and happily agreed to come on your talk today because I am personally very, very fond of Justice Gavai. He has been a great judge of the Bombay High Court and, of course, now of the Supreme Court. And he's a very sincere, upfront, frank human being. He's evolved a remarkable career. We know that. But he's a plain talker and he has an inner strength. And often people don't recognize that, but he has a great inner strength, though he's very affable in court. And he is someone we are immensely proud of, that he's now occupying he will occupy from tomorrow the highest judicial office in the land. So it is for that reason that I am readily and happily here to share my views and thoughts on him. I don't know how much of an opening you want me to give, but at least for starters, I can say that I'm really privileged to be part of this panel.
Now I go to somebody who's practiced, also been and appeared many times before Justice Bhushan Gavai, that is Senior Advocate Atmaram Nadkarni, even in Bombay High Court and now many in the Supreme Court also. And also because Mr. Nadkarni comes from the western part of India. He has seen him since a long time. And over to you for your opening comment, Mr. Nadkarni.
Thank you, Tarun. Bhushan and me, we go a long way. He joined a chamber of a veteran lawyer, Mr. Rajabhau Bhosle, was the earlier Advocate General of Maharashtra. And I was at the same time in another chamber of a great senior, Mr. Bhimrao Naik. So we have been colleagues since the time we were junior lawyers. So, I mean, we have had many conversations. I have seen him across, but I fully agree with Darius that Bhushan comes out as a great human being, a good soul. I have seen his rise from his junior days to the time he was practicing, became a government advocate, became prosecutor, and then he rose to the bench. In all this, the man remains still grounded. Today, I've seen him as a unique judge of the Supreme Court, a designate CJI, and tomorrow, of course, he'll be the Chief Justice of India, the highest august position in the judiciary of the country. But he remains completely grounded. He is very affable. It has not gone to his head, like unfortunately it had gone to so many other, sometimes it goes, very unfortunate, but this man is completely grounded. You see his disposition in the court. It's the same way. There is no tension. Lawyers can argue whatever point, and his grasping is tremendous. I mean, many a times, you feel that the man knows not just the criminal law, the civil law, the administrative law, but even the excise and all other laws, like, you see judgments on IBC, that Ganesham judgment, the other several of the judgments they speak for. So the brilliance is exposed when he on the bench and in his judgments.
Mr. Nadkarni, I always maintain what is in your heart is on your mouth and on your tips. You always are frank with what you say, and you've proven it once again. I'll go to Mahesh Agarwal. Mr. Agarwal, yours is one of the busiest practices at the Supreme Court. So I think any judge who takes over as judge in Supreme Court of India, you get an opportunity to appear before him multiple times, and so you also soak in how the court is, how the court atmosphere is, how the judge's temperament is. Is he a relief-giving judge, or what all other attributes that they bring to the chair? Given all that and more, could you give me your opening comment?
I would say not just my opinion, but the opinion of most who are practicing in the Supreme Court, that he's just the perfect judge, in the sense that he's very courteous, very patient. His knowledge of law is superb. We have done very big, long, winding cases before him. He has never cut short any argument. And like Mr. Nadkarni said, he's very well prepared in every matter. Now, some judges who are well prepared and who know the case, they cut you short that I know everything, you don't need to argue. That impression you never get before him. And after all that, there is always a bit of humor in his court. So there are no tensions, no pressures. A junior most lawyer can come there, mention, appear, and argue fully. You can never get any sarcastic remark or any browbeating or see any anger. At the same time, he's very firm. You would see orders where he has imposed heavy costs on litigants who have misused the process or done something wrong. So he's a very firm judge and he can't be taken for granted, but very soft. So I would say completely ideal judge. Only unfortunate part is that he has a very short tenure. I wish that it was slightly long. Just 6 months, out of that, about 1.5 months we have holidays.
Okay, point very well taken. I'll go to senior advocate Darius Khambata. Mr. Khambata, in Bombay and in the Supreme Court, you've had multiple opportunities to appear before Justice Gavai. Could you sort of give reflections on the person? How is it to be in his court?
See, I'll tell you, we mustn't forget that he embodies the best of two very great legal traditions in India. He, of course, as my friend Atmaram said, was a junior to Raja Bhosle, who was a former Advocate General of Maharashtra. But Raja Bhosle himself straddled two lines of the profession, because though he practiced a lot on the appellate side of the Bombay High Court, he sat in the original side library. And there was a particular desk on the veranda where he sat and where his juniors all sat with him. So he embodied both the two streams of the Bombay High Court. So Justice Gavai had that grounding and tradition. And Raja Bhosle was a fine lawyer. And Justice Gavai has inherited from him his legal acumen, his vast knowledge of the law, as my learned friends have said, and also his humility. So he has a rare combination which is perfect for a judge. But equally, Justice Gavai has imbibed the great Nagpur tradition. You must remember that the Nagpur bench of the Bombay High Court was an independent court, the central provinces, and it has a great tradition. And Justice Gavai occupied the position of government pleader there for many years. And that position itself has had some very noteworthy occupants. Chief Justice Sharad Bobde, for example, was also the government pleader. After Justice Gavai, you had Justice Sambre, who was a sitting judge of the Bombay High Court. Justice Dangre, who was a sitting judge of the Bombay High Court. So that is a very, very fine tradition in the Nagpur government pleader's office, which Justice Gavai was very much a part of. Not only did he imbibe it, but he helped to shape it. So I've appeared before him when he sat on the Nagpur bench. When I was Advocate General, I appeared before him there. And then, of course, he sat a lot in Bombay itself. And as my friends have said, really a great combination because of very, very acute knowledge of the law. But a humble knowledge. He'll never show off about it. But he knows his principles, he knows his judgments, and you know that. and it's across a vast spectrum of subjects. And for example, his knowledge of constitutional law, you see this recent judgment in the demolition matters that he's written. It's a masterpiece because he's really analyzed this whole question of demolition of structures under various facets of rule of law, separation of powers, public trust and accountability, apart from the natural justice and presumption of innocence points. So he's given it a very, very holistic treatment. And that comes because of his very deep grasp of fundamental legal principles and his great knowledge of the law. All masked very often by this utter humility in court. As Mahesh said, very easy court. You can argue. He doesn't stop anybody. He encourages juniors. There's always a little laughter. So really, I'm looking forward to this Chief Justiceship. It may be short, but there's a lot that can be achieved even in a short Chief Justiceship. We've seen that. And I expect a lot, and I'm sure we will not be disappointed.
Okay, so it will be impactful tenure is what Mr. Khambata is.
Undoubtedly. Please look forward to it.
Mr. Nadkarni, two things. You've served for a long time as the Additional Solicitor General of India and argued for the government side. And you have seen judges, handling both kind of cases because you have now arguing for private clients in the Defense Council. You've appeared for the government for a long time. So you've seen Justice Gavai also in both moods when you appeared for the government and now for the private side. Could you sort of reflect on how is he in court?
See, I must tell you, my experience in the profession is that wherever a judge has been a government advocate, many a times, some government advocates or public prosecutors have risen to the bar. It takes a long time for them to get over the fact. And there is a leaning in favor of the government. I mean, on a matter of law, principle, I'm not saying on facts, etc. But generally, the ideology is that way. But in case of Justice Gavai, that is not the case. I won't say it's an exception because there are a large number of judges who have risen above that and, performed well. Now, Justice Gavai's one of the qualities, the man is completely sound on his elementary principles. As Dara has mentioned, fundamental knowledge and fundamental principles of law, knows in and out well, be it the Constitution of India, be it the Criminal Procedure Code, be it the Indian Penal Code, or even the Evidence Act. Similarly, even the Civil Procedure Code. So he has been good. Justice Gavai has been excellent insofar as civil matters are concerned, insofar as criminal matters are concerned, and even insofar as administrative law matters are concerned. The writ petition. He has presided over the division bench for a long period of time. So he would go, and one other quality of Justice Gavai, which in fact many other judges should emulate, is he can rise above his own prejudice. If you tell him tomorrow that your lordships delivered this judgment yesterday, but this point was not argued and this is what it is, he'll go to the extent of correcting himself. I mean, he'll not make it a prestige saying that, no, I've delivered this judgment, you go through this and all. He might in passing say that you go through our judgment, we have decided. But if you want to argue something against his judgment, then Lord, he will allow you. I mean, there is no gainsaying about that. He allows you to argue, and he doesn't carry any prejudice when he sits. If he doesn't want to hear a matter, he'll say, no, not before me. He will not hear a matter. But that's why you are very comfortable when you appear before him as a judge. He has come out as one of the finest judges. And I'm sure his tenure as the Chief Justice of India, I wish it was little longer, but of course that is in the hand of the providence, the will of the providence. So one can't change it. Okay. He will have to, as a Chief Justice of India, make the optimum use of the limited available resources. It's an economic concept, meaning that whatever 6 months time he has got, and I'm sure he will come out with something. Because there are a large number of expectations from the Chief Justice of India. Chief Justice of India is, has the primacy over everything in all matters concerning judiciary. So there are matters like you can't concentrate just on the Supreme Court of India and the Supreme Court bar. You have to look at the high courts. You have to look at the lower courts. You are in the position of a father of the Indian judiciary. You're the head of the Indian judiciary. So whatever is ailing in the Indian judiciary, be it in the Supreme Court, high courts, tribunals, or even lower courts, he will have to pay his attention. And I'm sure, given his grassroots experience, because what is important for him, even in SLPs which are coming up before him, he knows which judge in Aurangabad, which judge in Amravati, which judge in Buldana, what is it, which district judge, what is he, PDJ, and all these things. So it only shows that he has got a connect to the ground root, the ground level. He knows what is happening there. So a lot of expectation is there, and I agree with Daras that much more is expected of him in this tenure as the Chief Justice of India, even though it's a short tenure.
In fact, what Mr. Nadkarni says leads me to believe that some major decisions that will be remembered long after his debuted office will be taken when Justice Gavai is there. Maybe it's setting up of benches in various parts of the country. It could be many more things, but I think that time will tell. And of course, including judgments. Now we move to the next part of our show, which is what we title suggestions. What decisions Justice Gavai sort of could take, that could, in a sense, impact in a positive way the delivery of justice and also facilities for lawyers and infrastructure and so many issues. Mentioning so many issues can be addressed. I'll go to Mahesh Agarwal, advocate, for his suggestions for Justice Bhushan Gavai.
I think with his humble nature and a friendly nature, he can carry the court with him. So the single most important thing which we are all facing is shortage of judges. Delhi High Court is operating at 50-60%. Most courts are in a very bad shape. And with the vacations coming, I hope that the judges are able to spend some time, and with the able guidance of Justice Gavai, they are able to fill up the vacancies. That is the single most important. Ultimately, this entire judicial system is for whom? For our clients or the consumers who look to the courts for justice. Today, the pendencies are going up, matters are not getting over. Single most important thing is, it's not that the judges are not working. Every judge in the Delhi High Court has 70, 80, 90 matters. They're sitting from 10 to 7. Still, it's not getting over. So the single most important thing, I think, is filling up of vacancies. And here, Justice Gavai's nature of carrying the court with him, carrying the collegium members with him, and also possibly the government, I think we can fix this problem. That is the single most important problem to fix. Second, I would say is that, which is Justice Khanna, today's was his last day, one thing had been streamlined very well, that Justice Khanna was not permitting mentioning, which is oral mentioning, but the system of mentioning by letters was working very smoothly. I mean, I could file a SLP today morning at 10, give a letter at 10:30, and the matter will be listed tomorrow with or without effects. So that gave a lot of ease in the last 6 months to all litigants. I hope that continues with a slight tweak that in matters where, apart from letters, some small mentionings are required, they should be permitted. So the mentioning and listing system is pretty good. With a slight tweak, I think we can make it better. Then in the Supreme Court, we had some, old things which have suddenly disappeared. Is that we were having these, letters for adjournment. Now, letters for adjournment are not for the purpose of dragging matters, but they serve a real need. A judge has 50 matters every day. If he knows that 10 or 15 matters, pleadings are not complete, some lawyer is not well, some reason of settlement, matters getting adjourned, that circulation of letters gives a lot of breather to the lawyers and the court, and it saves a lot of time. So I hope that is reintroduced, that we are able to file letters for this kind of mentioning, etc. So small things like this, I think, will go a long way. But most important thing is, one more thing we are facing nowadays is, which was never prevalent in Supreme Court earlier, is that there is a cause list which comes 5 days, 7 days before. Then there's a daily list which comes a day before. And in the morning at 10:30, everything goes topsy-turvy because we have a sequence. Now, sequence must be serving a purpose, that the judges feel that some matters are important, should be taken up higher on board. But every court is following its own practice of different kind of sequences. Delhi High Court, for that matter, has an excellent system that every supplementary matter is supposed to be urgent because it's filed a day before. They are taken up first. So if a standard rule of thumb is adopted that all supplementary matters are taken first, nobody is taken by surprise. Because otherwise, in the morning at 10:30, we don't know what's going to happen today. Some matters are heard, some are not heard. These small things, I think, which can be tweaked, will improve the system.
Thank you for those three suggestions that you shared. And we'll go to Senior Advocate Darius Khambata for his suggestions for Justice Bhushan Gavai.
I think I would look forward to Justice Gavai really making an impact in two major areas. One, as we all have said, is appointment of more judges. And I think he has the personality and the consensual way of working, which will hopefully get many more appointments. But even in those appointments, I would look forward to more diverse appointments across gender, across classes, communities, castes. I think we must have more diverse appointments to the judiciary. Of course, merit being the first factor. There's no question about that. That's one area I look forward to. But the second area is equally important. For too long have we lawyers blamed the lack of a sufficient number of judges for the woes of the system. We have seen, as Mahesh said, in the Delhi High Court, in the Supreme Court, and I see also in the Bombay High Court, how hard the judges work. They are wilting under the pressure. We've seen, it's unbelievable from the time I joined the bar and what I'm seeing today. The pressure judges are under is just not fair. I think as an institution, the bar has to step forward and work out means of practice. Some time limits on arguments, written notes in advance. I know Justice Gavai encourages shorter notes, which is very, very important. We should welcome, for example, orders of costs that will dry up a lot of frivolous litigation. This can't happen without the cooperation of the bar. And I think Justice Gavai will have that cooperation. So as a Chief Justice, if he sets a vision for how not only the Supreme Court, but all the courts in the country should function broadly in a more efficient, professional way, and that really has to come from us lawyers, I accept that. I think that itself will be a trendsetter, and it will open up our court system and our justice delivery system to a completely new era of functioning. And so I'm hopeful he will also move in that direction.
Thank you for those suggestions. I'll go to Senior Advocate Atmaram Nadkarni. And also given the fact that Justice Bhushan Gavai has excellent relations, as we all know, in the collegium. Many times we know in the collegium within judges, there is certain kind of frostiness that leads to slowing down of decision making. Thankfully, with Justice Gavai, we all know how excellent relation he enjoys with the collegium. And as a chief, I think that helps in decision making. Over to you, Senior Advocate Atmaram Nadkarni, for your suggestions for Justice Gavai.
I agree with my friends, Mr. Darius Khambata and Mr. Mahesh Agarwal, about appointment of the judges, etc. The number of judges have to be improved. And I fully agree with them that it should be the quality of judges which should matter more. Of course, subject to giving representation to different classes, etc., to balance. But, the first thing, insofar as Supreme Court is concerned, I agree with Mr. Mahesh Agarwal that the letter system should be restored back. What happens is a judge is not required, because if somebody circulates a letter mischievously, other side can always oppose it. There's a letter in opposition. So the judge is not required to read the brief. Instead of reading 50, 60 briefs, concentrate on, 40 or 30 briefs, whatever it is. Second thing, as a Chief Justice of India, traditionally, always there was mentioning in the Supreme Court. In the first court, the mentioning was there. This mentioning of urgent matters or even certain matters, has to be restored back. The email system is working fine, but the email system is not the end of all, it's not the remedy for everything. Email system can go on, but the mentioning before Chief Justice should be there, because the Chief Justice of India should know what happens all over the country. There could be an urgent matter somewhere, extreme urgency in, Bengal to Kanyakumari to this, to nook and corner of the country. So that mentioning before Chief Justice should always be allowed. I mean, that is my personal opinion. Number three, insofar as the infrastructure in Supreme Court is concerned, that infrastructure needs to be upgraded. That air conditioning of the corridor and all those is fine. But there are so many things. Certain courtrooms, they have a pillar in between, right in between. You can't see the judges, you see the pillar in between. The judges can't see you. I mean, it's a horrible planning. Horrible planning. You could have done something to design those pillars or kept the courtroom. And number two, there are certain, so therefore increase the number of courtrooms, make the courtroom, and number five, see the crowd in the court. Is it possible to get in the court and is it possible to get out of the court? People just stand in the corridor, etc. So, I mean, something needs to be done on that count. Of course, but for that, his tenure is too short. But I hope he will do something. I'm sure he'll do something because he's a very practical, pragmatic man. Number three, about the high courts. Lot many high courts need improvement for very many things. Not just the strength, not just the quantity, but the quality. The kind of judges which are now coming to the High Court, something needs to be done because it's a matter of intergenerational equity. You need to have good judges at the High Court level. And of course, at the district and subordinate judiciary level also. So there has to be some system which, of course, I'm sure he'll do because he has so many things in his mind to do. So let's wait and see what all he does.
Good point you made, but I may also add that if he does something on infrastructure, the good thing is that what you create lasts forever. So any change.
One thing I want to add, this collegium picking up, instead of the chief justices of the High Court or senior most judges going down and picking up number 7, 8, 9 for whatever reason, I mean, is a good thing. Because if you find that the top judges are not very competent, not very meritorious, it is better that you pick up those which are there. That is the case in every high court. I'm not saying that chief justice, senior judges are not good, etc. But there are cases of that type where you need to. So his collegium must also do the same thing. That if there are meritorious in some high court which has no representation, pick up those people and bring.
Point very well taken and nice to have pointed this out. We'll now go to a round of final wishes. This is our final question on good wishes for Justice Gavai. It is indeed, I think you have to be not only capable, but you should have God's blessings to reach here. There may be so many things said, but to become a Chief Justice of India, one of the most powerful Supreme Courts in the world, we have Article 142. There is such a powerful court. I think India is one of the few countries with such a powerful Supreme Court. We'll start a round of good wishes for his tenure with Mahesh Agarwal, Advocate Mahesh Agarwal of Agarwal Law Associates.
We wish Justice Gavai all the best for his tenure, and we sincerely hope that he's able to correct the image of the judiciary, which has taken a lot of beating just now. We need some confidence building measures that everybody has faith in the judiciary and the judicial system, not just but the speed of delivery, but the quality of delivery. And I'm sure he'll do a lot for this purpose.
Thank you. We'll go to Senior Advocate Darius Thambata for his wishes for Justice Bhushan Gavai.
I agree with Mahesh. I think we have the right man in the job in Justice Gavai. It's a few months, but he can restore the confidence that every citizen has always had in the judiciary. It is the institution of last recourse. And there is still a huge amount of confidence and trust in it. It's taken a bit of a beating, but I think it's important to build that confidence, to restore it. And I don't think we could have had a better Chief Justice to do it than Justice Gavai.
We go to Senior Advocate Atmaram Nadkarni for his wishes for Justice Gavai and his tenure.
Yeah. Tarun, if you recall, Supreme Court's image in between was taking a slight beating. I mean, it was following a very downward trend and people were openly talking about it. It is at that time that some of the judgments which were delivered by Justice Gavai, giving bail to somebody or requalifying certain persons or, tenure of certain officers. So it is Justice Gavai, some of those orders and the judgments which he delivered, brought back. Supreme Court has a very high stature, there is no doubt about it. But I'm saying the perception of the people and the citizens of this country does matter for everything, however high an institution you may be. So that way, he's looked forward and he's come out today by and large as one of the best judges in the country. Many others also, but he has come out to be one of the best judges in the country. And I'm sure my friends, Mr. Agarwal and Mr. Khambata, will agree with me on that. Because I have seen lawyers of different high courts, and I am yet to come across somebody talking against him. He has done this, he's done that, and all that. I have not seen him. For that matter, even in the friend circle, I have never seen anybody talking against Justice Gavai. So he is so popular. So our best wishes to him. He's a very blessed soul. He's a very God-fearing man also. And I wish him and his family, wish him a very great tenure, wish him and his family the best of health, happiness, peace, and all the best to the new Chief Justice of India being sworn in tomorrow.
Excellent, excellent. Nice words. Also, as Mr. Nadkarni said, a bold decision maker. One good thing I saw that he said that good criticism is accepted, but somebody who's doing planned trolling of judges is not acceptable. He said in as many words, he says, I understand sometimes when people plan and criticize judges. To this effect, he said. So he understands genuine criticism from planned criticism, where just to bring pressure on court, you start to say something on social media. So I think, he is going to steward this very well, and we look forward to reporting, discussing on shows the judgments that he does, and look forward to the decisions that he's going to take as Chief Justice of India. We wish him very well for his tenure. I would like to thank Senior Advocate Darius Khambata, Senior Advocate Atmaram Nadkarni, Advocate Mahesh Agarwal for finding time and joining on this show and sharing their suggestions, views on Justice Bhushan Gavai. It was indeed a pleasure, and I thank you that you could make time for this show. Thank you so very much. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Tarun, and thank you.
For more such videos, subscribe to the NewsX YouTube channel, hit the bell icon.